Hi, today I'm going to show you how connections, as covered on page 150 to 153 in Human Transit, can improve bus travel time. We'll also add in a new technology, the in, through and out bus. I'll explain how the in, through and out bus is of benefit and when it is of most benefit, and times when it is of least benefit. The one personal thing I'd like you to think about here is, would I put my 8-year-old child or grandchild on this network? And for the purposes of modelling, every minute has been converted to a second, and for the purpose of display, I often show journeys in one direction, even though there would be in most cases an exact opposite return journey. Now we start with the model in Human Transit, page 149, of a simple city with 3 places on one side and 3 places on the other side. Now they're separated by sort of an area in the middle. Now I've shown that here on this map here, with the 3 neighbourhoods on one side and the downtown college and mall on the other side. And what we're going to show to start with is we have 9 buses, and they're going to all move. So there's a bus from each and every position going to each and every position on the other side. So we'll move these buses now. So all the buses move across. Now they would be moving, they'd go every half hour and make it a 20-minute journey to get across. Yep. Okay. And next we're going to move to what's known as the connective model. So for this one, just put 2 back up and 1 down there. Yeah. For this model, well, instead of travelling to each and every direction, every place travels just one from one place. It travels into the centre of the map. So we show this again with the buses. So the buses will be coming from the bottom and coming from the top and all meeting up in the middle. Yep. And once they're in the middle, people will change, and then the buses go back out to where they've come from. So in this one, the travel time again is 20 minutes. The distances are slightly different, but we'll ignore that for the model. Now we can go to a more complicated one. Now we're going to add waiting time in. So we'll just have one direct and one express feeder bus to make it simpler for the model. Now for waiting time, the direct model, they had a bus every 30 minutes, so by chance you'll wait 15 minutes. Whereas with the direct model, there was 3 buses from that place instead of 1, so there'll be 3 times as often, or every 10 minutes, meaning the feeder only has to wait 5 minutes and the express only has to wait 5 minutes. So we'll show these travels now with, first of all, we start now, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the feeder moves to the middle. And when the feeder arrives at the middle at 15 seconds, the direct bus starts its journey to the college. Now the person has got off the feeder, and they got on the express, and that left at 20 seconds, and then it came down to the college, getting there at 30, and 5 seconds later the direct came in. So in this one, the connective model is 5 seconds faster than direct. Now we add, so here is an example of the waiting times. So the total ride time was the same in both directions, 20 minutes. But in the direct option it waited 15 minutes, whereas the connective option waited 2 5-minute periods. So that's its advantage. Next we can move to what's called the in, through and out model, where the buses, instead of terminating at the middle and going back, they run right through to the other side. Now the timings for this would be, if you went from here, you'd have a 5-minute wait again, you'd run through in 20 minutes, Thank you. 20 minutes as shown here, and get to the destination in 25 minutes. Whereas if you wanted to connect, it'll be a 5-minute connect to get to, so total time being 30 minutes to the mall or 30 minutes to the college. So what we can show these again on a table. So we have 35 minutes for the direct service, 30 minutes for connective, 25 minutes for the in, through and out when it went direct, and 30 minutes for the connective, for the in, through and out connecting. So the in, through and out connecting and connective were identical, but the in, through and out going direct had that 5-minute advantage. So now we can move to in some places what you can have rather than having just a centre area, is you can actually have 2 centres, or a centre with a length to it. This is an example here of Wellington with its Golden Mile shown symbolically. So the 2 hubs there, one at the northern end, one at the southern end, and then 3 suburbs running off the northern hub, 3 suburbs running off the southern hub. Now, for the purpose of this example, I've used to say that there's 36 buses in operation at any time. Now, divided that by 3 provides 12 buses for each in, through and out route, and as it's a 20-minute journey into there, 20-minute journey between the hubs, and 20-minute journey there, so a 120-minute round trip. So with 12 buses, there's 1 every 10 minutes. Now, with the connective model, they have four buses on each of the feeder legs and 12 buses in the middle. So again, they have a 5-minute time between feeders, or a 10-minute time with a 5-minute wait, and they have a 3-minute 20 time between buses in the hub waiting, or 1 minute 40 for your wait. Now we're going to show here the example of 2 buses moving from Wilton to Island Bay, one with 1 bus moving on the connective option and 1 moving on the in, through and out option. So just in reminder here of their times for waiting. Times for waiting is the wait 5 minutes for the feeder, take 20 minutes to get to hub 1, 1 minute 40 wait at the connection, ride to hub 2 of 20 minutes, feeder wait at 5 minutes at second hub, and ride to destination of 20 minutes. So showing that graphically, and not sticking to my foot, so the 2 buses, the yellow bus and the orange bus, for feeder 1, will both start after 5 minutes, and then they'll travel identically in time to get to the first hub, where they'll be there at 25 minutes at the same time. But the in, through and out bus continues along a little bit for a minute 4, and it's a minute 40 ahead of the not the feeder now. The next one is the express, because the person's got on the express bus, which is a minute 40 behind the in, through and out one. And so they continue on to hub 2, to both buses. Hub 2 there, yeah. So they arrive at hub 2 at 45 minutes for the in, through and out, and 46 minutes 20 for the express. And the in, through and out will continue again while the feeder had another 5 minutes wait for the feeder. So the final times of arrival are 65 minutes for the in, through and out, and 71:20 for the connective model. Now, if we wanted to go out to High Tai or Newton, it would be 70 minutes on the in, through and out, because you'd have 5-minute wait there, and it's still 71:20 for the connective model. So looking at the table, so looking at that as a table, there are times for our wait. Our times total 71:20, 65 and 70, and that's how they're made up. All travel time all been identical, but the wait time is what makes a difference. So in summary, when the in, through and out is particularly effective, when very heavily patronised, such as a hub and a spoke, with a spoke going directly to the CBD. The in, through and outs can provide a quicker, easier journey from work for many people over a short period. The in, through and outs particularly help the return journey, where it is difficult to time it right to get a feeder running from the hub on a very busy network. The in, through and outs can decrease the need to transfer, which is of particular benefit when the hubs are large and confusing places. They decrease the need for large hubs. As I discussed elsewhere, their curb times in another video, their curb side is less than feeder and express. They are of benefit to people who have difficulty transferring. This includes younger and elderly people, people with disabilities, people with luggage, and people with children. For these people, the presence of an in, through and out may be the difference between catching a public transport or not. If there is a hub with many buses coming in many directions and going out in many directions, with a similar number in all directions, the in, through and outs are of less benefit. The in, through and outs are of less benefit if their final piece in the in, through and out are long and poorly patronised. What works well in these situations is to have an express bus and the in, through and outs as well. It may be the in, through and outs are the only service to this area. In summary, the in, through and out bus model complements the hub and spoke model by reducing waiting times and making trips faster. The in, through and outs make transport more accessible for people with decreased ability to make transfers. The in, through and outs also provide a benefit to other users by freeing up hubs and bus stations.